Couldn't be happier to be bringing this to you live from our third stop here on the KSP World Tour.
Absolutely. So it is just past 10 a.m. here, local Ireland time, and we do have a riders meeting going on right now. We're going to go and take a listen in on that as soon as that gets underway. Yeah, day one here of the 2012 Aer Lingus Kite Surf Pro.
Some of the riders, showing up in the last few days, and again, as we said, we're going to go have a live look in at the riders meeting now and see what they have to say.
All right, let's go check it out.
If anybody wants to do some yoga, Kirsty Jones is quite happy to do a yoga class with all you lot, which I'm sure we can film it and get it on live streaming. Be good for your sponsors, good for yourself. Okay, and it's good for your soul, good for your soul. And over to you, Francois.
Well, thanks for being so early at 10 o'clock this morning. I know we have to feel a bit the place as the first time the live is on. So everybody's watching, from the whole world. So thanks for stopping the pool or stopping on the computer for 1 sec. The plan today is start by. We're going to organize this afternoon. If some of you want to follow us around, maybe we bring some of you because the two lovely guys, Swifty and Yui, that we've seen yesterday, is going to be coming, and you can jump in the vans, and we'll see depending on the forecast if some of the people wants to surf, and that's going to be also one of the topics, and the introduction of this guy there who is a legend, and he'll explain everything about the surfing. There's lots of surfer here, so if there is not too much surfing, kite surfing today happening, maybe we'll go for little surf sessions. But whatever happens, you can have your lunch, you can chill out here, and this afternoon we'll organize a little trip around. I remind you that tonight at 8 p.m. we have this big official party, so take your best flag, take your best smile, brush your teeth, make your hair, take your best t-shirts, and the sponsor. We got lots of politicians that's going to come here, lots of super VIP people, and you're all invited for like a pizza and sangria party. All you can eat, all you can drink, with reason, of course, because tomorrow morning you have to wake up, and it should be quite interesting. You're also going to be confronted, can I say confronted? Yeah.
All right, so that was the riders meeting taking place right there. It sounds like we do have an official lay day called for day one here of the 2012 Aer Lingus Kite Surf Pro, Ben.
Yeah, and again, as you heard from the meeting, kind of going over some stuff for the day, trying to figure out exactly what the rest of the day is. It's pretty early in the morning here, and some of the riders, of course, as the lay day is called, start to figure out what to do for the afternoon, also what to do for the evening, which is great to be in the place that we're at now and have our fantastic hosts here at Pure Magic setting up some stuff for the riders to do later on today.
Exactly, yeah. They've been really entertaining all of us and all of the riders and everyone here. This is, of course, our home base here at Pure Magic, and there you can see we are getting right into the Irish spirit here, even early in the morning.
So, that's right.
Cheers to that.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. We're stoked to be back here and in Ireland. And just to recap, this is stop 3 of the KSP World Tour. Very different scenery here, as you were saying, Ben, from our last stop in Mauritius.
Yeah, and what's interesting is it's really going to be a contest that is going to really benefit the person who can put an entire package together. As we saw in Mauritius, and I hope everyone was able to, if not tune in live, at least go and check out the footage that was captured from that contest, because it was an epic contest. There were fantastic conditions. And as you're saying, what a contrast to what we're gonna see and experience here in Ireland. It's not going to be a big barreling waves that people are going to be trying to tuck into. It's going to be a changing condition, and we don't really know what we're going to get every day, which is what makes the contest fairly unique in the situation that we're in, because on a daily basis, conditions could change, directions could change. Breaks could change. Such a great event to be able for a rider to step up and really showcase sort of the multiple aspects it's going to take home the title here.
Absolutely, and of course our front runners at the moment in the rankings are Patri McLaughlin from Hawaii on the men's side, and Nina Bichler from Germany, living in Mauritius, on the women's side. They're going to be looking to defend their positions here in Ireland. As you said, very different conditions here in Ireland. It could be big barreling waves like we had in Mauritius. It could be onshore, it could be side shore. That is kind of the unique thing about this contest, is that the conditions are so changeable. It could be wind from the left one day, wind from the right the next, big waves, small waves. We just don't know what exactly we're going to expect here. So it's kind of a guessing game, and we're just going to have to make a judgment call every day. Again, we do have the mobile format here, which is very different from our other events. That's going to be a really interesting factor here as well.
Yeah, and it makes it pretty hard actually to pick a favorite. Our first stop of the year, though, we didn't get a chance to finish the event in its entirety in Portugal at Guincho Beach. Really favored more of an onshore condition rider, some beach break, a little bit of sort of that aerial, looking for ramps and getting airs in, and we could very easily see that exact same condition here. But as you were saying, it could help out our front runners, as you were talking about with Patrick McLaughlin and Nina Biekler, who came out of that Mauritius event victorious with big wave riding and barrel hunting kind of being their formula for victory in that event. So it's going to be interesting to see, because as we saw even in the first couple of rounds that we were able to get through there in Guincho, kind of a different story on who the front runners were after that event and who the favorites looked like they were going to be. So as we go further into this into the waiting period here and the conditions start to present themselves, being able to pick a favorite I think is going to be near impossible. Even though as it's in the point standings, both Patri and Nina stand atop, I think a lot of the other guys out there have solid chances to come through in this event.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that mobile format, we'll be moving around lots of different conditions. Yesterday, we took a little drive up north. We went out and got a kite session up there. Yesterday, we had side offshore wind from the right, so just the opposite tack of what we had in Mauritius. The waves were about chest to head high, and not too many barrels to be had, but just some nice little open face waves for doing some nice turns. Today, the wave conditions have gone down quite a bit, so have called an official lay day.
Still windy out there.
Still very windy out there, and really blustery conditions. But again, we do have this mobile contest format, so we'll just talk a little bit about the different spots that we have here, Ben. If we can maybe pull up a map here on your screen. We have a few different event locations. So we are based here at the Pure Magic Lodge on Ackle Island. This is our home base for the event, so we're going to be stationed here basically. And we're within perfect striking distance of about 5 different spots that we can check on each day and possibly hold the event.
Yeah, we're pretty centrally located here, which was the reason. Not only there being a spot directly in front of the home base here, but also kind of sets us in the center at Ackle Island to be able to hit those spots at least within a relatively close driving distance. Nothing north or south is exactly right around the corner, but easily makes it so if the conditions arise for us to utilize those locations, nothing that a quick drive in the morning can't take care of. And as you're saying, with that mobile format, it's great to be able to utilize all of the spots around this area.
Yeah, absolutely. So the spot that we have right in front of our place here, just about a 5-minute drive, is Keel Beach. Keel Beach is basically a beach break, and it can be anything from onshore to side off. Works on a variety of different wind directions. We've also got Ellie Beach, which is about an hour and a half north of here. That's where we went yesterday to have a little session. And that is looking like possibly could be working maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after.
Yeah, the amazing part about that spot is it works on a lot of wind directions, and so that's going to be one I know that the event organizers and the race director is going to have their eyes on pretty consistently throughout these days as they pass as pretty much any wind direction other than directly offshore.
Yeah,
works up there.
Exactly. Yeah. So yesterday, as I was saying, is side offshore from the right. We've also got a couple other spots up there, Beldara and Falmore, that I haven't actually. I went and saw them yesterday. They weren't working in that wind direction, but the organizers tell me that they're great spots as well. We've also got Karoninsky, I believe it's called, which I think is to the south of here, if I'm not mistaken. So again, we are going to be moving around every day. We're going to make the call. Our contest directors are working together with the locals, with the people who really know the spots around here intimately and really well, and they'll be able to sort of point everyone in the right direction, and based on a forecast that we'll be watching throughout the day, make the call in the evening to where we're going to go the next day, confirm that in the morning, and then we'll basically be piling into buses and heading off. We'll be totally mobile. We'll be able to get to the spot, set up, and just run the event wherever we choose.
Yeah, and the cool thing about it is a lot of times in locations that you show up to and visit, and I know most everyone will say at their local location, if you don't like the weather, just wait a couple of minutes and it's going to change. It's kind of what everyone says, but after being here for a few days, I can really say that the forecasting tools here are updated pretty much on the hour, every hour, and it can change completely. So I know all of the event organizers and the race director and all the judges, and will be keeping their eyes on that as the day progresses, and really not even really be able to make a call for what's going to happen or what they even think to happen until pretty either late in the evening, that tonight, for example, or when we wake up in the morning to be able to even see really what's out there. And that's kind of the cool thing, again, about the mobile format is that you're able to sort of gauge what the conditions are going to be in certain locations within basically like a 3.5 or 4 hour radius of where we're staying. And go to those locations as conditions allow. And as we were driving in, and as we saw yesterday at some of the beaches we went to visit, Ireland is pretty much what you'd expect. It's pretty cold out there. It's pretty rainy, or can be pretty rainy, and those conditions are just fantastic for showcasing a complete different side of kite surfing than we saw at our last event in Mauritius.
Absolutely, yeah. Riders with hoods and booties and gloves and the whole gear of neoprene getting out there on the water. So we've talked a lot about the conditions and how the landscape looks out here. We're going to take a quick preview of what we can expect to see over the next week. So some of the riders are just in the room next door having a little chat with some of the local surfers, I believe. We'll have a quick listen in to what's going on over there.
As well. If anybody has a bit too much Red Bull or whatever, we'll get you pulled out. Yeah, wave-wise, you've probably all looked pretty much at the coastline here. It's ultra dynamic. There's loads and loads and loads of little nooks and crannies. There's a lot of waves. We always say, seek and you will find, you know. There's pretty well documented where the waves are here. Belmallet especially is kind of quite close to my heart. I actually surfed up there probably 12 years ago. It was the first time I surfed up there. It was like a fairly barren and desolate place and not another kind of surfer around in sight. there's some really classy waves up there. It's a superb venue for kite surfing, as well as Ackle here as well. So that's it really, yeah, just have a good time. If anybody needs any help or advice on where maybe to look to see, to find themselves a wave or whatever. If we get some glassy conditions and not too much wind, we might even whip you into a few waves or whatever. Have a bit of crack, you know, get everybody whipping in just on, maybe on a kite or a wakeboard or something like that. Just mix it up, have a bit of fun, you know. And yeah, thanks very much indeed, and looking forward to the event.
All right, so just a little meeting going on in there, talking a little bit about the conditions. I guess sounds like they were talking about some of the places up north, how they might be able to go surfing on some of the off days, and just the conditions they can expect to have.
Yeah, and depending on what we see for the next couple of days, spending some time in the water here, again, for everyone who hasn't been here, which is predominantly everyone who's competing, getting some time on the water, even if it's surfing, is going to sort of help with that education. As everybody knows who's spent any time in the water, whether it be surfing, kite surfing, or pretty much anything, time in the water, reading local places is invaluable. It kind of helps you pick out what's going to be the best wave coming in, and how it acts at a certain location based on it being a beach break, point break, rocky, rocky points that are sticking out here as well. And spending any time in the water kind of helps you with that education for your heats as soon as they do begin, to be able to pick out the best ones coming through. So I know those guys are amped to get on the water, even on days where we're not going to be able to have the conditions good enough to run.
Exactly, yeah, and just get as much time at these spots as possible to learn all the intricacies of each spot. So just looking at some of our matchups here, Ben, we've got some huge matchups coming up. That
right
first heat just coming out with a bang is going to be Patrick McLaughlin, the current points leader, winner of our last event in Mauritius. He's going to be coming up against Luke McGillivray, who was, I believe they met in the semifinals.
Yeah, rematch of the semifinal that we saw at last event.
So we'll see how that goes here in Ireland, depending on what the wind conditions are offering. That could be that is going to be a very big heat.
Both goofy footers.
Both goofy footers, exactly. And they're going to be coming up against a regular footer who is a local wild card here, Ryan Coote. Ryan knows this coastline better than just about anyone. He's surfed and kited all these waves up and down this coastline for a number of years, and he's going to be using that local knowledge to his advantage in that first heat.
Yeah,
it's going to be a huge one.
I can't wait to see that first one. It's like you said, right off the bat. I couldn't even. There's maybe only one other heat, which we'll talk about in a minute, that comes even close to that sort of drama that we're seeing in that first one, and it's the first heat of the day, for the first heat of the contest. So when we do get conditions good enough to allow us to run the event, please don't miss tuning in to the very first heat. I know that we're both going to be amped up to watch that one.
Yeah, that's going to be a huge one. That other heat I believe you're talking about, Ben, is heat number 8, which will be the last heat of round 1. That's going to be Ayrton Cozzolino, reigning world champion. He was second place in Mauritius. He's going to be coming up against the young Australian ripper Kiahi de Aboides, and another, the second local men's wildcard, Mark Berry. That's also going to be a huge heat.
Yeah, and that one is especially going to be interesting based on condition. I mean, as you said, Ayrton Cozzolino in the final of the Mauritius event, coming in second, definitely proved his worth in big barreling waves. However, also known for pretty fantastic aerial moves in sort of an onshore condition with little ramps. So again, based on what we see, he's going to be looking, have a little bit of fire in his eyes to come back and really work his way through that ladder. However, coming up against Kiahi, he's going to have his work cut out for him, because that kid is on fire as well.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about Ayrton, or the amazing thing I should say about Ayrton, is he's able to switch his stance. He can go front side, back side, both ways, and depending on the wind conditions, he's able to switch it up and just sort of adapt his riding style to whatever the conditions have to offer. Kiahi's a regular foot, and so that's going to be a really interesting thing to watch too, with the changeable conditions here in Ireland. Switching over to the women's side, we've also got some huge heats coming up. Of course, in that first heat, Nina Bichler, she was the winner of our last event in Mauritius. She's going to be looking to defend her position here in the rankings. She's going to be coming up against Susanna Kuiper and Selena Guardati. Also in the last heat of women's round 1, is going to be Mila Ferreira and Yalu Langare coming up against Lillian Malskart. That's also going to be a huge heat.
Yeah, also, exactly. And again, as the conditions are going to play a huge important role, as we saw the last event, Nina Bichler at her home spot, completely dominating that final against Yalu Langare. However, I would say that these conditions are probably more similar to what Yalu spends most of her time in Holland. Not exactly, but cold water.
Yeah,
a
stormy
bit
conditions.
stormy, so
Yeah.
I think she perhaps might have the edge, and for sure is going to have her sights set on taking out Nina Wiekler, the points leader so far at the 2012 KSP Tour.
Yep, absolutely. So again, this is day one of the 2012 Aer Lingus Kite Surf Pro. A lay day has been called for today. Just checking out some of the heats that are going to be coming up. We're looking forward to an incredible event here, Ben. We're not going to quite get heats underway today, but it looks like we are going to get things rolling within the next couple days. Hopefully tomorrow. Again, forecasts are so changeable here. We could very well just be running tomorrow. We don't know yet. We're just going to have to keep an eye on the forecast and make a call as the weather presents itself.
Yeah, and please keep checking back for updates on the website in the browser that you're looking at right now as you're viewing us live on the streaming side of things. If you look around to the right, you can see the heat ladders that we were just talking about in detail. Every heat, the heats were formed last night and are now up to be able to view right now, as well as all rider profiles and our sponsor pages, our sponsor links. Please go check these guys out and like their Facebook pages. We'd like to give a huge thanks to Aer Lingus, the title sponsor of this event. They've been fantastic, I know, on our trip over here, sitting in the chairs and pulling out the in-flight magazine. There was a kiteboarder on the front with a big title saying that this event was happening here in Ireland. They are stoked to have this, and I can't imagine. I know I've never had it happen before, where you pull out the in-flight magazine and the title of the magazine is the event that you're on your way to. So want to give those guys a huge thank you for all of their support. It wouldn't be happening without them.
Absolutely.
So Aer Lingus, the title sponsor of this event.
Yeah, and when I came through security actually in Dublin, the guy asked me what I was here for, and I said kite surfing, and he said, "Oh, you're here for the World Cup, are you?" And it's like, oh, and that was pretty cool to actually, everyone in the country seems to kind of know about the event and know that it's happening, and that's great to come to a place and feel so welcome, and everyone is cheering for us, and we're going to have a lot of fans out here on the beach, hopefully braving the cold and cheering on their favorite riders.
And you've had a lot of fans walking through the streets here from the farmers offering you some money to shave that sheep wool you got going on up there.
They offered me 10 euros per pound yesterday, Ben. I don't know, I might be able to make some money.
I would have taken that.
All right, here we go. So we are looking forward to an awesome event here. We'd also like to thank Iron Essentials, one of our other sponsors here. Huge thank you to those guys. Pure Magic here, of course, where we're based, the Pure Magic Lodge, right on Ackle Island.
Speaking of which,
huge thanks to those guys for just welcoming us here and just providing everything we need to
keeping us
hydrated and warm and out of the weather. And of course, we'd like to thank Hertz as well. He provided us some awesome cars to be getting around in. North Kiteboarding, and of course, we couldn't be here without the organization of Freeride Ireland. Huge thanks to our organizers for setting this all up for us, as well as a whole list of other local sponsors. Huge thanks to all of those guys as well.
Yeah, thank you to Leader, Southwest Mayo Development, the DECLG, the NDP, the EAFRD, ACL Tourism, and the IKSA.
That's a lot of abbreviations.
A lot of acronyms.
A lot of acronyms there. All right. So a huge thank you to those guys. LOL.
OMG.
OMG, Ben. So I'm sure we'll be hearing a lot more about all of those guys later on this week. For now, we are going to go ahead and wrap up the morning show here. This is day one of the 2012 Aer Lingus Kitesurf Pro. We will be back with you tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. sharp. Don't miss it. Hopefully, we'll get this thing underway in great conditions.
Yeah, and as we said earlier, because we have a bit of if there's great conditions at a beach that's north or south of where we're at, we'll be working far before you hear our 10 a.m. call. So we'll be up and moving, and if you see us at 10 a.m. tomorrow live on location, there's a good chance that we'll be able to get the event underway. So I hope you tune in 10 a.m. sharp, because it could very well be that we're starting immediately at 10 a.m. So until then, I'm Ben Meyer.
And I'm Sky Solbach, and we will see you back here tomorrow for day two of the Aer Lingus Kitesurf Pro Ireland.